Hi and welcome back to Decoding Tarot. Today is episode 3 of Tarot Backwards, and today we're talking about the Visconti Sforza deck, the beginning. So today we're going back to the very beginning of tarot, before tarot was symbolic, before it was intuitive, and before it was used to readings. These cards, these Sforza Visconti cards, were commissioned by Francesco Sforza, the Duke of Milan, in 1451, and he commissioned the artist Bonifacio Bembo to create the cards to commemorate the 10th wedding anniversary of the Duke of Milan Sforza to his wife Anna Marie Visconti. These cards include images of family and friends, and it is the most complete set of the earliest tarot decks. In this deck, the only cards that did not survive from the 1450s were the Devil and the Tower, which here are modern recreations. These were originally used for a game called Triumphi, which is the ancestor of bridge. Triumphi means triumph, and that is where the trump cards come from Triumphi. So the major arcana, the trump cards, they cover Renaissance subjects such as the sun, the moon, etc., and the cardinal virtues such as fortitude and temperance. And the first thing you'll notice from the major arcana is there are no numbers on them. So when I got this deck, they were not sorted into order. It took me quite a while to actually get them into order because there are no numbers present, and some of them it's not always obvious what the card actually is. Now the actual real deck, of course, these are reproduction. The actual real cards, there are 26 of them in the Academy of Carrara in Bergamo. 13 are run by a private collection, again in Bergamo, and a further 35 are in the Pierpont Morgan Museum in New York. So these cards do actually still exist. So we'll go have a look through the majors. The first thing you'll notice with these cards is they're very ornate. They were of course very expensive, including gold leaf, but there's minimal symbolism in them. So starting with the Fool. The Magician. The Empress. The High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Pope. In modern decks that would now be the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot, Justice, the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, Strength, the Hanged Man, Death, Temperance, the Devil. This one, as I've mentioned, is a modern recreation because this card doesn't survive in the actual deck. And the same with the Tower. Again, that's a modern recreation based on the art at the time. The Star, the Moon, the Sun, Judgment, and the World. So these cards represent social roles at the time the cards were made and moral ideas. It also shows a hierarchy of the people in the cards, but they are not deeply symbolic. There are no hidden layers, there are no esoteric symbols, and there's no storytelling. The meaning of the cards is not the focus. These were meant for a card game, not for divination. The feel of these cards is very formal, historic and decorative. This is really art, not a tool. And these cards were of course made during the Renaissance, so they do have a very Renaissance feel about them. There are similarities in these images to paintings by Leonardo da Vinci and others at the same time, so they do have a very Renaissance feel. I will quickly mention the pip cards, but these are actually very, very similar to what we've seen already in the Marseille. Again, no numbers, so you do actually count the pips. So just having a quick look at the ones there. In each case, you would have to actually count the ones because there's no numbers present on any of them. Which, when playing a card game, having to count how many ones you had must have been quite tricky. When we get to the court cards, these would have been pictures of the family, the Sforza family, so the Duke of Milan's family and friends. So the rest of the pip cards are very similar, just to show you a few. There's some cups cards, the swords again, just showing a number of swords that you would have to count. No numbers on the cards anywhere, just to make it tricky. There are a few Italian phrases on some of them. Again, much more arty than symbolic. So the full evolution of tarot, of to Rider-Waite. I'll just show you over a couple of different cards. We have the Sforza, which is art and status. So these were designed for a card game. People had them commissioned to show their status. Marseille. This is now coming more produced in numbers, so more people than just the nobility could have them. But this gave the structure and the system to tarot. And then we come to Rider-Waite, where we introduce the symbolism and intuition. Do the same thing with High Priestess. So the High Priestess, we have a figure that, and actually in this deck it's actually called the Papess rather than the High Priestess, so it is actually much more of a Christian figure than we see moving further forward. But though that is actually retained to some extent in the High Priestess of Marseille. And now the High Priestess from Rider-Waite, where we become much more symbolic with the symbolism I've talked about previously of the duality of the two columns, the veil separating the mystical from the real world, and the symbols, etc., the moon, the pomegranates and the screen behind her, etc. Now every deck you use today is built on this evolution. So virtually every modern Rider-Waite-Smith deck is based, every modern deck is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system, which has evolved from the Sforza Visconti deck. Thank you very much. That's all for today, and I'll see you on the next one.